They don't think you could do it, but tell you to try when they talk. All I hope had to keep it alive. Spend a day in the Bronx, but you wouldn't survive. Can be low when I pop out, they know I've arrived. I go have conversations with Zoe, he gon' tell me pull up and come say what you know. I've been up, I can count all them days in a row. We don't say what we do, we be making the show. They say I'll be
the voice of the Bronx. We have Bronx Slam with the guys that are out here. Can I get a
yeah? Leave them all right where they at. Try to diss me, I bet I don't even react. Put a show on, I bet you somebody gon' I pick me a book up and drink me some water, invest in the stock. All
right, peace and love, world. Welcome to another episode of Conversation with Zoe. This is a special episode. This is our Mother's Day edition. We have 4 lovely, beautiful mothers who are holding it down for their kings and queens. And I'm so happy to have everyone here. So starting with Jess and go down the line, can everyone introduce themselves?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I know y'all, but I'm Jess. Do you want me to tell how many kids I have?
No, you don't have to do that. Just introduce yourself.
I'm Jess.
Right.
Paola.
Hey guys, I'm Nat, also known as Natastrophe from Instagram, and I'm happy to be here today, Joe.
Right.
So,
don't you have Toxic Tuesday or something like
I
that?
have Toxic Talks Tuesday, but I was trying to be non-toxic for the Mother's Day. But yes, tune in Toxic Talks Tuesday every Tuesday at 9:30 live on Instagram,
Right.
New York time.
I'm Prisha.
Right. So we're gonna go down the line, and anyone can chime in whenever they feel. But what does motherhood mean to you?
It's a really good question. Motherhood just means to me just holding down the fort for your kid, pretty much in every aspect that you can. Everybody, they don't prepare you for motherhood, but motherhood is pretty much being a nurse, being a chef, being a Uber driver. So motherhood is whatever you need to be in that moment is what you need to be. That's what motherhood means to me, at least.
Right.
For me, I would say it's multiplying your family, right? And then nurturing. Motherhood, you have to nurture. That's what we do as mothers. I also think there's a lot of lessons. You learn a lot as a mother. A lot. Yeah. To me, it's just multiplying your family, the main thing.
Right.
Motherhood.
Oh, sorry. I think that if I had to choose a word to sum up motherhood, it would be love. I think that love is so powerful and so deep, and the love that we have for your kids is just built in you. And some moms are more affectionate than other moms, but there's no mom that won't jump in an instant for their child if need be. And it goes back to what Jess was saying, whatever you have to be in that moment, you just become that. I found strength in things that I didn't know I had until I had my kids. And so love above all things. And the other thing is safety. I feel like having kids has stopped me from doing a lot of dumb shit,
Right.
to be straight up. And I had them young, and that's a pro and a con. And I used to look at it as more of a con.
Right.
But then when I look back at how I was living in my late teens, early 20s, I'm just no, I needed them to ground me. And some days I need them just to lift me up, and they don't even know that they're doing it. So I think that love and safety, if I had to just throw something in there.
Love that.
If I had to choose a word to describe motherhood, I would say world.
Right.
Because no matter what you go through, no matter what you have to do, no matter, you could think of any circumstance, and a mother has gone through that.
Right.
So world.
I don't like this lineup though, because she gets to think about her answers.
Right.
Everybody
Who,
gets-
she? Me?
You got
No,
to
her.
pick.
She
Oh.
gets to-
Listen.
You got
That's low key why I picked this.
Listen, nobody's seat is safe.
Oh, see,
So-
got him.
So
Nobody's
you're
seat is
first
safe.
next time. That's what he's trying to
But-
say.
Yeah.
No, he
Exactly.
didn't.
But
That's not what I heard.
This is not a question that's going to be taken too literal or too far.
All right.
But this is more just a warm up, just get everybody to jump off the cliff and just be open and honest and just ready for whatever it is to come, right? But no pun intended.
Here we go.
What made you let him hit raw?
Jesus Christ. That was the next question?
That's the next question. Starting with you.
That's crazy. I knew you was gonna do that.
Yes.
I was bamboozled.
How were you bamboozled?
Yeah.
I was young.
How old?
He spoke those words.
Oh, he was talking that talk?
Yeah. And when you young, you gullible to stuff like that.
Right.
Oh, you my girl.
Yeah.
I'm
you
not
my
dealing with
world.
nobody with you.
Yeah.
I know I'm the only one you've been with.
Those baby hairs is
Yeah,
laid.
you know, like,
Yeah.
those words was talking to me. Why you touching me? You can't do that.
Right.
At 16,
Uh-huh.
I was ready.
Right.
He knew that. I was bamboozled.
So, shout out to my baby daddy. We were in a relationship.
Okay.
We were in a relationship and been working since I had working papers. My parents didn't want me to work because they knew that my end goal at 18 was to move out, and that's what the hell I did. Unfortunately, because you're not supposed to be on your own at 18. My best friend was supposed to move in with me. She flipped on me last minute, and I was just like, nah, I gotta go. I want to be outside, and my parents trying to keep me inside.
Right.
So we were living together, and I was on birth control. We had already been in a relationship for over a year, so it was very regular to have unprotected sex.
Right.
The problem is at 18 years old, you're a little bit reckless when it comes to birth control. I ran out of my pills. I was like, whatever. Like, I'll get them when I get them. We were both working overnights, and then like we went out on Halloween, and that was the first baby
Right.
because we have two.
Right.
But we were in a relationship both times. It wasn't like,
Right.
I mean, don't you? If y'all got a boyfriend, y'all not gonna let him hit it raw like every time. Every time.
Yeah.
All right.
He was my
Absolutely.
boyfriend at the time,
Right.
too. I didn't have
Yeah.
my kid until I was 18.
Right.
19, actually.
I'm not
Right.
judging.
But-
It could have
What-
been.
what was your
I'm
Yeah.
judging my damn self. I am. I'm just.
What was your costume that night?
That probably played a factor. You never know.
I was like a gypsy, but my
See?
thing was super short. That night, like we were underage in a club. I got him in with a fake ID, and then the club managers came and they were trying to lock him up, and I was like,
wow, that night.
no, yeah, I was just like,
So y'all was celebrating because
we were celebrating because he didn't got locked up. So
Oh, you was about to die.
outside.
no, what's crazy is that like I thought that they gave me a mistake pregnancy test. I was hella tight when they told me you're pregnant. They asked him to leave the room because I thought I had cancer. I went to the ER and I said I got an ulcer in my stomach, and they said, oh wow. And they said, is there any type of way? Is there any possibility that you could be pregnant? I said, absolutely not. At the time, I didn't realize that my hormones were making me disgusted by him, and
Right.
so I really didn't touch him for over a month. Over 2 months.
Right.
So I'm just like, no, there's no possible way. Like, unless, God picked me for the next, virgin story.
Right. Immaculate
Correct.
conception.
Which is not gonna happen.
Right.
There's no possibility. So they're like, okay, we'll run all the tests. So like, it was not I'm not gonna shit on the hospital on like a podcast. So I won't say which hospital it was. I'll tell y'all after like the camera stopped rolling. But I went, it was like 7 a.m. Mind you, I got there like at 11 p.m. the night before. So the nurse comes in super annoyed, and she's like, yeah, she asked him to leave, and then she's like, you're pregnant. And I said, this is why I don't come to this hospital. Because y'all
I know exactly
are
how a
always
hospital
going to
you
mess
been
somebody
to. You want me to say it?
Legit, I was just like, how am I here from 11 to 7? And the only thing you could tell me, number one, is that I'm pregnant. And and you're wrong. And she's just like, I'm not wrong. And I said, so I texted him. I said, I'm pregnant. And he got mad. He called me up. He's like, baby, we've been here over 7 hours. Like, I don't know how you still have the energy to joke around like that. Da-da-da. Because he also knew he hadn't touched me. So then she was just like, come, I'm going to do a sonogram. I'm like, I'm going to call him. So he comes in, and we're just both like, stupid ass hospital. And I was 11 weeks pregnant. So it matched at around the time, the last time that I had touched him. Halloween.
Gypsy.
Mm-hmm.
It all calculated to that night.
It did calculate to that night. So almost 3 months.
Night. Right.
So that's my story of how I got knocked up the first time.
The
So-
first time.
Oh yeah, right.
To the
Because you have
second
to.
time. I want to hear
No,
your
go ahead.
story.
Go ahead.
Well, I have a similar story.
Oh,
I
wow.
was,
It
we
was
were
Halloween
together. No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
Well, no.
It was Halloween too?
It was the birthday.
Right.
It was the birthday.
Those are do
Special
those are
occasion.
do it.
Special
Yeah, it was
occasion.
It's your
It was the
birthday.
January
You be pulling out
birthday.
some tricks for the
Yeah,
birthday.
right. So we were young, 16. By 18 we were living together. I had my baby at 20. And that's it. We were together for 5 years. Who isn't fucking raw at 5 years?
relationship,
Right,
right.
right. So that's my story. That's it.
Yeah.
Why you made it seem like it was longer than that?
No, because that's it. 5 years.
It was a
All right.
birthday. It was the birthday.
So, for me, my daughter's father and I. What up, Kenny?
Shout out to Mackenzie. That's my little homie right there.
Me and my daughter's father actually grew up together. I've known him since I was like a kid. Like he knew me through my tomboy phase. We played ball together, like all that shit. That's still the homie though. But overall, we dated when we were 16, and you know we didn't start at that time where we started fucking. Okay, I just want to make that clear.
Okay, Mom.
It was a couple years later.
Right.
Sorry, Mackenzie, if you watch this.
All right. Someday.
But we had actually ended up separating my second year of college, and we were separated for 6 years. And then we ended up getting back together. At that time, when we got back together, I had went through like a really bad breakup, and he was there for me. So he was like helping me, and then we started becoming friends again. And then in the process of us becoming friends again, we kind of like found each other again. We ended up moving in together. And that was our first time living together. So by that time, I was like 25. I was 25. We ended up living together. And you know what happens when you 25 and you living together? Like you got your first apartment by yourself.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Nice. So like
Everywhere.
Right.
yeah, everywhere.
I was doing that when I
Kitchen,
didn't have my own apartment.
Hello,
Right.
like
I'm just
so
saying.
you know that's pretty much what happened. But at that time, you know, we had been through so much together in that time. Like I was there for him when his father passed, and he was there for me through the shit that I was going through, and we were just there for each other. And even the time that his father passed, we weren't even talking to each other.
Right.
But when his dad passed, he called me like, "Yo, like it happened," and I was just like, "All right, I'm there." Like I said, we didn't speak to each other for like 2 years at that time, and I just showed up to the funeral, like, cause I knew his dad. So
Right.
it was just a situation where like, at that time, it was just like, yeah, I told you, like, I'm always gonna be here for you for the big shit that you need me for. I'm going to be here. So even now, like, we're not together, and he has a girlfriend who I love. She's amazing, and she treats my daughter just the same way as if that's one of her kids. So even now, like, I still want the best for him. He still looks out for me, and that's just the homie for life.
Right.
So that's my story.
We'll get to that later on down the road. Does anyone here want any more kids?
No,
Absolutely not.
I could do 2 more.
Okay.
I could do 2 more.
I say no.
And it has to be back to back. Like they have to be like Irish twins.
Mine are Irish.
So I say
Right,
no,
like that.
but the thing is, every guy that I end up meeting that I want to date, like actually date, they have no kids.
Right.
So they come across me like, oh, so like so I feel like if I come across, because I will say that my daughter's father was supposed to be a forever. Like we were talking about getting married and everything, and shit happens. So like in that aspect, we decided when we were having my daughter that it was like, okay, we're gonna wait until she's old enough to participate in the wedding. But obviously in that time span, shit happened and
Right.
things didn't work. But for I will say like the next guy that comes along that ends up wanting to have a kid, that would have to be something that I would have to consider, because I know everything that I went through emotionally with my first child. And that's not something that I'm willing to stand for when I go through that again.
Right.
Like I know how I'm going, and everybody says that every pregnancy is different.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys can probably attest to the fact that every pregnancy is different,
Mm-hmm.
and you may be more hormonal the second time than the first time, or you may want this, you know,
I mean,
or
you
not.
can also see that from the outside view too, that every pregnancy is different.
But
so-
people who are outside looking in don't pay attention to shit like that, because I can 100% tell you I saw no difference with you with the 2 kids, because I'm not the one dealing with that internally.
Mm.
I could tell you what I dealt with Mackenzie, and I could tell you what I'm not willing to go through shit again. because I don't want sleepless nights again. I don't want throwing up until I'm 6 months pregnant. I don't want like sitting there and after I'm eating a meal, like my stomach look like it's about to be alien and she's just gonna fucking rip out my belly button. Like I don't want to feel literally none of that again unless I have the support to feel comfortable enough to do that. So for me, I don't want kids. If I come across the man that I know is supporting me emotionally, then I might consider that idea. But the last guy that I was with, he also didn't have kids. And he also told me, like, oh, it's your body. So if you decide that you don't want to have kids for us, because he didn't have kids. So he was like, if you decide that you don't want to have a kid, that's fine. I have Mackenzie. I'm good with Mackenzie. And I was like, okay, well, if you're good with Mackenzie, don't bring that shit up again.
Right.
But if you do want to have a kid, that's something that we can discuss.
Right.
But like I said, I'm only open to it if I know that my support is there for me emotionally 100%
Were you in love when you had a baby?
at the time, yes.
Yes.
No.
No.
You were a gypsy, not in love.
No. Sorry. You can skip. Go.
I mean, hold on.
Oh Lord.
No, you gotta tell the story.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
You
like,
said no.
I mean-
Now I want to know. It's interesting.
We want to know.
Because you know you guys lived to you went through the process. So
Right.
how do you find
Oh
out?
We
my
went through the
God.
process twice.
What
Right.
made you feel like you weren't? Like,
Right.
how did you know that you weren't in love with him?
Because when I'm in love, I'm real dumb. Like I'm really dumb. Like I'll do anything for the
But
guy.
what made you feel like you weren't dumb? You didn't accept the fact that you were pregnant, even though she had the fucking test.
so here's the thing. We moved too fast in that relationship. And I feel like my goals surpassed my love and attraction for him. So like if it meant moving in with him because I'm going to move out, all right, I'll move in with him. It wasn't like I'm so head over heels, I'm gonna go with him, like how it would be. I moved into that relationship with the father of my kids fresh out of a still what is to this day the worst relationship I've ever had in my life. I was very young. He was older, even older than he actually said he was.
Ding, 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 ding.
What? No.
How old were you?
Oh, we can't say this on camera.
Oh.
Yeah. So like he was also working off the books, if you understand what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
And so like I was just so obsessed with that. Like with him, with that. That was my first a lot of stuff. And so like he even spoke to my father and we were gonna elope in Spain. Like this
So
was
were you obsessed because it was forbidden, or these were actual feelings?
like these were actual feelings because also he was very romantic. And I'm a sucker for romance, like extreme over the top romance. And then when I would tell him it's over, he would do the most. And I need to feel like you're obsessed with me. You know, like cry to me when you're drunk. Like do all that shit. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Sorry,
But-
though, but
but
I
he
see this is
was-
why I didn't
Nah,
want
who
to talk
don't
about
like
No,
that?
no,
Who
no,
don't like that, though?
Listen, you know, I went through the same thing.
And I was
Yeah,
so
right?
young.
Oh,
and
I get it.
Right,
Everybody
but-
I
loves
went through the
romance.
same thing with
I want
mine. Let me
that.
tell you.
But this guy was obviously
bad for me.
much older than you.
Toxic.
He was
Much older than me. And if I say the reason why the relationship ended, like, I don't know if it's embarrassing for him or embarrassing for me. Like his I'll say it. You see, this is why I can't drink. Imagine I did drink. Shit. So he I was young, so I couldn't sleep over. So it was like the nighttime and I had just texted him like, I love you, papi. And whatever, I fell asleep.
Were you on the sidekick or a regular phone?
I'm crying. It was a flip phone. It was a razor.
It was a razor.
Good talking
So
that just showed our age.
Yeah,
You wildin'. Go ahead.
So then he didn't text me back, or he did. I don't remember, but I just remember waking up the next morning
Oof.
and seeing a text like, "Why you texting my husband? You love him."
Oh.
So I said, hold on a second. Oh, I thought that was me. I was like, so I know he has a child
Right.
and he had a baby mama. And I'm psycho. So I had gotten all of her details. I had gotten her mom's phone number, her mom's address in DR, her address. I got everything because I was like, I'm gonna hit her up. And you think I'm playing? And I put all her stuff out that I had discovered, like from doing my own stalking. And he would be like, you could hit her up. chill. Like, he wasn't even flinching, not even shaking, not even nervous. He
But
would
it
be like,
shit like that make
"Wait."
you be like, oh, all right, I'm not gonna.
Correct. So he'd be like, you could hit her up, but she's still in love with me. So I'm telling you now that if you hit her up, she's not gonna let me see my kid because of you. But you could hit her up. We don't have nothing to do with each other. And I was
And
16.
I'm still hitting her up.
And I know, but I was 16. I was 16.
still
And you want to
texting
know
that
what's
fucking
crazy?
number.
You want to know what's crazy? Half of me knew that he was saying that because there was something there. But I was so in love with him
So how
that I
old was
chose
he?
to believe him.
She not gonna tell
I'm
you,
not going to
bro.
tell you that. Just,
I would honestly, I'm not gonna hold you. Even if that nigga was the same age as me, I wouldn't tell you.
Right.
Cause even still, I don't want to be in a situation.
Five plus?
I don't want to be in no situation.
I live with
like
that. I could live with 5 plus.
and so what happened was also at that age, even though I was working and off the books, so I saw all my money. It was minimum wage, which in New York at the time was like
$7.
Like
$7.
$7.
52 cents.
Somebody-
All right,
somebody-
stop disclosing
Yeah.
how old we are.
So-
Yeah. Y'all wild.
It's the razor phone is $7.
Because minimum wage is like $20. now.
Imagine making $7 minimum wage.
But
in
I
this
was a teen,
Bro, I
economy.
right?
definitely made
So
$7
so
for
he
minimum
would,
wage.
you know,
That's
when
crazy.
we would go out, cab, whatever I wore, my nails, like it was just also a
You just showed the age by
lifestyle.
saying cabin, not Uber.
Right.
Not y'all.
Right.
All
Just
right,
throwing
guys.
that out there.
So,
I mean-
so no, because he even if Uber existed, knowing him, he would not have used it. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
So it would have been cab
Paper trail.
regardless.
That's that part.
Paper trail.
So
That
like
part.
so I felt like I was finally going to be a wife. I had so much illusion with this man, and the only reason I'm very loyal. So the only way that I could have stayed away from him is if I got into a relationship. And the father of my kids, I already had a crush on him.
I get what this.
I had a real big crush on him, and I just saw him so like handsome, and he was so protective of me. We used to work together, but he used to walk me to the train. He didn't have money, but he still just always made sure I was good. And I was just like, you know what? Like, wow, like I had my eye on him, and then I ended the relationship with the ex. But that was not the first time we ended it. Like, we always ended it. And I always felt back in the traps. Like, he would show up to my job, not to the school, because he knew better.
Last
but
time you ended it, what made you feel like
Baby,
it was
not
over?
to the school.
it wasn't. So I had to get into a relationship. So I got into a relationship with the father of my kids.
So when you did, you
Couldn't
told
That's
him,
why
and
she
then that's when
wasn't
he
in
left
love.
you alone.
He didn't leave me alone. In fact,
So what was the final? I'm asking, like, what was the final straw of leaving him alone?
well, once I was in a relationship, now I'm not answering your calls. Now I'm not listening to your drunk crying. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He continued to the point that it really got into our relationship with the father of my kids.
Right.
The father of my kids would answer the phone, and it would be him.
Right.
And it would cause issues with us. So like I didn't have a chance to fall in love with the father of my kids because
Gotcha.
I hadn't given myself the opportunity to fall out of love with my ex,
Right.
which was not fair to him. You know, I feel like he got his lick back. You know, he's happily married to this date with someone who he's been with for over 11 years or 10 years. And in the moment it hurt, but on some real shit, like I deserved that. Like when I look back at what I did and how I moved, and like it wasn't fair to him to have to fall in love with somebody who was like really, really still in love with someone else.
Right.
And it manifested in our relationship.
Right.
And then to have 2 kids in that situation, like
Yes.
I carry a lot of guilt still, but
Right.
it is what it is. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. I feel you.
Sorry, I know
So
like
you,
No, I love that.
were you in love?
Oh,
'Cause I'm
wow.
curious.
Why you gonna throw that out?
Because I'm curious.
Come on, we
I was
coming that way.
Beyonce.
That's fine. I'm
crazy
curious.
in love.
Yeah.
Dangerously in love.
All of that. Every Beyonce song. Resentment. All of that. All of that.
Brown
All of
eyes,
that.
dangerously in love.
Well, if y'all want to know the backstory, me and my baby father, we went to junior high school together. So when we went to junior high school together, he was my first kiss. So we separated in junior high school. He wound up going away to a school,
Right.
if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Right.
So I didn't see him until my adult, like, I don't even want to say my adult years, until like 16, 17.
Because we was together.
Right.
But I digress.
I was,
sorry.
and it just so happened, I was in the lobby waiting for her to come downstairs. And he walks into the lobby and he's like, I know you. I'm like, you don't know me. He like, yeah, I do know you. I'm like, that's crazy. I'm on the phone with my boyfriend at the time. I'm like, let me call you back. Let me
Hold
call
on,
you
open the
back.
door real quick. Let me
He's about
call
to
you
get crazy
back.
in the lobby real fast.
Let me
call you right back.
I'm
I love
sorry
you.
to
I love
my
you.
ex-boyfriend,
I love
cousin.
you. I love you.
I'm sorry
Like-
to my ex-boyfriend because I actually broke up with him for him.
Right.
Look how that turned out. I'm sorry.
You out there listening?
Right.
She looked at the camera.
you
She looked at the camera.
I'm sorry.
She-
sorry,
It was
my
a genuine.
Sorry.
I'm
really
sorry.
Yeah, that's how you know she's sorry.
Right.
Years later, or 17
Right.
years later.
That
Sorry.
turned out really crazy. But yeah, that's how I was really in love.
What are the expectations of a mother?
Compared to what?
Right.
No comparing. Just
To be a bank.
as a mother, what do you feel is expected of you?
Everything.
From your kids to be a bank.
Yes,
A
definitely.
chauffeur, because my son calls
No,
me tomorrow. I got invited to this party. Can you take me? I'm like, do you know what I'm doing? Did you ask me what's your day like?
How old is your son?
13.
Mine's is 16.
Oh, look at that.
I
Can you
feel
ask
like
me what's like?
the expectations of a mother, as far as like society goes, is literally everything. We're expected to put our entire life on hold, and if we are living our life, the immediate question is, "Where's your kid?"
And we're supposed to put our kids first, technically.
And even if we do put our kids first in every
wrong.
aspect of our life, you don't see that part of our life.
Correct.
Because
Correct.
I can 100% tell you, as soon as everybody sees my Instagram, they be like, "Oh, you outside, you outside, you outside." Yes, every fucking weekend I am outside. Do you know why? Because Monday through Friday I had to do homework. I had to make sure at 6:30 in the morning I was up to get my daughter ready for school, to pack her lunch, to drop her off by 7:45, to pick her up by 3:30. And on Wednesday she says half a day is at 12:30, so I have to pick her up at 12:30. I have to make sure she's at doctor's appointments. We went to the podiatrist today and yesterday. We had to go to the doctor to get a referral to go to the podiatrist. Then on top of that, I had to do her laundry. You cannot tell me that on the weekend I don't deserve a fucking drink.
Talk to me.
Or a break.
I do
Or a break.
everything that I'm supposed.
I'm
supposed
well,
to do.
I seen a post yesterday that actually said why our mothers didn't just take the chicken out the refrigerator themselves.
Right.
And as a mother now, I understand why my mother used to beat my ass because I didn't take the chicken out.
Right.
Because she was tired.
It's a lot.
She got to
It's a
get
lot.
ready in the morning. She got to get you ready in the morning. She got to get freaking frat ready in the morning.
Right.
She's almost late to work.
Yeah.
Got to take you to school. Y'all almost late.
Right.
If she didn't pick out your clothes, because I guarantee y'all mothers didn't pick out our clothes the night before, but we learned our lesson.
Right.
So she got to pick your clothes out, pick her clothes out, but she ain't have time to take the food out for dinner.
Right.
So
And
a
you're
lot.
it's
It
It's
is.
I could- I
I
could-
Summed it up.
I could
Yeah,
honestly
it's a lot.
100% tell you that anybody that tells you that motherhood is easy has a fucking village. And when I tell you village, I mean like celebrities be like, "Oh, I love being a mom and I love doing this." Don't get me wrong. I do like being a mother. I don't love being a mother. And I will say that because I can't do everything that's best for me because of how it affects everybody else. I can't go out and move to another state because if I do, my daughter's not going to have time with her father. I can't go out.
to differ.
I
Yeah,
can't
same.
do. I feel like I can't do certain things, and I can't. I feel like, and even in different aspects, because celebrities have the person that is there to wipe your ass while you're on a podcast.
Right.
I don't have somebody who's going to be able to do things. Like in 2 weeks, I was supposed to go to Texas. I had to cancel my trip because I don't have anybody to take my daughter to school.
Mm.
Her father's not going to be here. He already told me he's going away. Then my mother's also going away. I don't have the same backup I don't have a backup to a backup to a backup.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like sometimes I do have to put certain things on pause in my life. And I'm fine with that. I decided to have her. So because I decided to have her, I know that that's my responsibility.
Right.
So I know that ultimately at the end of the day, everything will fall on me, regardless of whether I do have her father or not. Her father literally makes everything easier.
Right.
He does. And I can't sit here and say her father, I can't say he's a deadbeat. I can't say he's a shitty dad. I can't say that he's not there when I actually do need him to be.
Right.
He is there when I need him to be. We don't split child support. I don't take him for child support because I don't provide for her when she's over there. The same way he doesn't provide for me when she's with me. But if I
Agreed.
do need him to provide, he does.
Right.
So I can't complain about the situation. It is what it is. This is what we talked about. And there's no reason for me to try to make the situation either better or worse. This is what works for us.
Right.
So even before, like, my daughter's happy, she's good. And if there are certain things that I need to put on pause, I'm fine with that. And there's never any point in my time where I'm living towards resentment towards her. I'm not living in resentment towards her father. I'm not living in resentment towards her mother, because I know this was the path that I chose. I chose not to be with her father.
Right.
I chose to do things I know that I have to deal with as a single mother. And everything that, I'm sorry, as a single parent. I don't like
Right.
to say single mother.
Yes, because
Right.
you know I was about to say something.
I like as a single parent.
We have this debate all the time.
As a single parent, I deal with certain things. So I know that is just the road that I chose.
Hold on.
So, I agree. I beg to differ. I have a village, but that village was created with me putting ego and pride to the side.
This is good.
Right, because I was going to school, so it was, mommy, papi, can you watch him? But in a Hispanic household, there's like, you had your kid, atiende tu muchacho, you take care of your kid.
Right.
But it was on some, I need to go to school, I gotta do this. Can you watch him? Yes. Same thing with his dad. It's like, I gotta finish this. Or, I've been working, I've been going to school, I wanna fly out with my friends. Can I do this? And they're like, yeah, that's no problem. So it was hard to ask because we don't like asking. We want to do everything ourselves. But I had to put that ego and pride to the side and just like, listen, I need a hand. Anybody that I can ask, whether it was my sister, and it was all family. My son to this day has not slept over in nobody's house. Besides his grandparents or I don't allow him to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just always putting ego and pride to the side and creating that village for me. I did have the village to help me out, and they still do to this day. So
And that's good to have.
yeah,
It's great
I
to
didn't
have.
have I didn't have that village until my kids got a little bit older.
Okay.
It's a mix for me. So I love being a mother, but I will say that even though I have a huge village, it is still the hardest thing I've ever done.
It's hard.
And I feel like as a single mother, because I'm a single parent, but I'm a single mother, like that's what it is, right? So I feel that it is just never the same to get support from family and friends, because some of my friends have come through, but then to have your partner in the house. And I only say this because my parents were married for over 25 years. I think more than that, but I don't know exactly how many years.
Right.
I had my mom and my dad, and I saw the tag team. I saw the benefit of the help when one was burnt out, tapping out. The other, my dad was very, very active. And so similar to you guys, I have a huge family. Spanish people have like 40 kids.
Mhm.
So I have a huge support system. But I have zero support from their father.
Mm.
He's on child support by court, by force, and he's like, we're talking like close to 30K in arrears.
Mm.
So like it got to the point that like the verbal abuse was so bad that I said, you want to know something? I'm not going to take you off because you don't deserve it. But if you pay, you pay. If you don't, you don't. I don't need to be dealing with this. Because because I get so much help from my family so that I could work, so that I could do podcasts, so that I could have a little bit of freedom to be able to live. Not so that I could go out regularly, not so that I could travel regularly, just so I could work and sometimes have a break and some social time. My mom is burnt out. My sisters are burnt out. My siblings have helped. My father has helped. I could call them right now if I have an emergency, and they'll drop whatever they're doing and they'll run like if it's their children. But guess what? The burnout then for me comes when I really want to be outside, when I really want to date. I feel, even though they help, because I cannot complain. Like, I feel like I have to give them weeks in advance. I got to try to space it out. I got to try to not overwhelm them because they already helped me Monday through Friday so that I could work. I work full time. And because sometimes he'll send money, sometimes not. and zero support in terms of child discipline, help. I can't call him for an appointment. My kids can't call him in the middle of the night for anything. So it's really, really like the labor of love of parenthood is solely on me, and my family helps so that I could provide. So I also carry guilt with that alone, and then on top of that, like when I want to go out, it's just like.
I feel like the thing about it is also how you grew up, because you look at it in the aspect of you grew up with both of your parents. So for me and my daughter's father, he grew up with both of his parents. I didn't. So I had to keep convincing him how it could work with when both of the parents are not together, because that was how I grew up. I grew up with both of my parents not together, and I was spending weekends with my dad. But I witnessed my mother literally going through everything. Like my mother had at one point, like she had a job at my school. She was like one of the administrators at my school. But even so, it's a different way of growing up. So you see things as when we were on the verge of breaking up, he kept trying to be like, well, it's not going to work if both the parents are not in a home. And I'm like, bro, I am perfectly fine. I am a functional person in society, and both of my parents were not like physically together. So it's just about showing that both parents can be there without being together.
And I agree 100%.
Yes,
but
and
Jess,
that is 100% of being a co-parent.
It's very important.
Jess, that's 100%. But the last argument I got into with their dad.
We can still see you though.
Yeah.
All right, Spider-Man, hold back.
So the last argument I got into with their dad was, my kids are showing behaviors because they miss him. My daughter has expressed
that's
this.
Where that goes.
Yeah.
And she actually wants more than a relationship with him. He has more kids, and she wants a relationship with her siblings. And my son is, this was the hardest school year for him, where he was being bullied. Someone attacked him, and like, I'm crumbling. Like, I work in sales and I bring hundreds of thousands of dollars to my company, and my month of April was the worst month ever because it happened all in April. And so I called him like as a cry for help, like, hey, just because we're not together doesn't mean you can't be present. Like, just because we're not together doesn't. So I 100% agree with you. In fact, I think more parents should separate, to be very honest.
Yeah.
But that goes back to what Paola said when it comes to pride. Because me, I would have never called that nigga.
I think I was at a really I was at a low. I was at a low when you have your two babies going through two different things, and you're carrying the weight of the numbers of the company on your back, and you forgot your tolls, so now you have like fees, and like motherhood has a constant to-do list that just
never ends.
It never ends, because while you're checking off the top, the bottom is increasing.
Is adding, yeah.
And I'm so like happy for you guys, and I don't know if that's your situation, but I'm happy because y'all shared that y'all have the co-parenting thing down pat. That is so necessary.
It's very, and I wanted to say, because that what you just said, that's why it's important. It's not important because we want to be together.
Right.
It's important for the happiness of the kids.
The kid.
We're creating happy
But
adults.
it's only important for the happiness of kids when it's not a toxic situation.
When it's not the co-parenting is
the co-parenting.
The co-parenting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Only when it's not a
important.
toxic situation.
Right, when it's not.
Me and my baby father, we could absolutely not co-parent. There's not a situation.
But your kids go
I
with
say
him.
that to say this.
No.
And I say that to say this. We're not co-parenting. He is not in my kid's life.
Okay.
But this is why
I say that to say this about the single parent and single mother. She's not a single mother, and I have to constantly tell her.
No.
But
that's why I can't say that either.
But
I don't.
And
that's
like
the
I was
other reason
saying,
why
like,
we have the conversation of, I tell everybody I'm a single parent because I still co-parent with my daughter's father. He's very active, and I never take away of the fact
Right.
Well,
of
my
how
son goes
active
away.
he is with his daughter.
He goes.
But she considers herself a single mother because she 123,80,000
Everything.
Yes, she does everything.
Everything.
No, yes, that's true.
No village.
That's so true.
No
That's
village.
true.
Nothing.
That's true. That's
You can't say no
100%.
village.
I can't say no village, but I didn't get my village until they got
I know,
older.
but you can't say no village now. What I'm
Yeah,
saying-
but I said that earlier. I
Yeah.
said I
She
didn't
did,
have
she
a
did, she
village
did.
until they
Yeah,
got
she did, she did.
older.
Right.
She did.
But when they was like below 10, when my oldest was below 10, I didn't
That's
have
the
a
hardest.
village.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the hardest.
I didn't
That
have
is
a village.
That's the hardest. That is.
I literally had to ask my brother before he went to college. I would have to be like, I'm going to the store, I'll be back. And I had to run out the house real quick. I didn't have a village. Like, and he was like, what, in his teens at that age? He was my daughter's age now, 16. I would be like, I'll be back. I'm going to the store. And just go do what I had to do, go out. So I really didn't have a village. But as I was saying, I say you need to have a village, but I forgot what I said. Damn
You
it.
said the toxic
the
situation.
toxic.
The
is
toxic.
The toxic.
And I say that to say, it was a situation recently. My daughter was having a bad tooth pain. Bad tooth pain. She was crying every night. I couldn't take her to the doctor because I was working all hours. I'm working towards my goals. I'm trying to work all hours. She's having a tooth pain, and I'm like, listen, I'm going to take you to the dentist. I'm going to take you to the dentist. You guys got to give me a break. You guys got to give me a second. He wound up actually coming to knock on my door that same day, and I'm like, can you do me a favor? Take her to the emergency room. That emergency visit went left field.
Oh my gosh, I'm scared of what you're gonna say next.
Between him and my daughter.
Mm.
Totally left field. Remind you, he doesn't do anything for my
And
kid.
she's angry at him.
She angry, period.
And he
because of her
can't
tooth.
see that. So
Yeah.
she's in pain and she's
Angry
angry.
at him. Yeah.
And then
Resentful.
Now you want to take me to like where you come from.
and then you have the
But you gotta
nerve
listen to the whole story.
to try to discipline my child.
Ooh.
Hold on.
Ooh.
Okay.
You have no right to discipline
He's
my
like,
kid.
wait.
Uh-huh.
He's like, hold on.
You have no right to discipline my kid.
Well, it's his kid, but
Especially
he
not-
didn't do
no, that's
anything.
not your
right,
kid,
Not
baby.
somebody who
correct.
hasn't been active for the
At all.
correct.
At
That's
all.
not your
Right.
kid, baby.
That's my fear.
You are a
sometimes.
sperm donor at this
Right.
point.
Right.
What was he doing knocking in your door in the first place?
That's what I asked.
He comes to see them
Okay.
every
Now and
once in
again.
a while.
Just show face.
Yeah,
Hey, I'm
hi.
Dad.
Yeah,
I'm
you-
Dad. I'm the sperm donor.
I see you next Friday. Like, type of shit. Like,
I'm not-
Nothing on the table.
I came to
no
pick up
green
my
on the
son.
table, no nothing. No
All
green
right,
on
I
the
see
table.
you next week.
No
Like-
green on the table, nothing. Oh.
But I allow that because my daughter's getting older. You could see her. But after that, yeah, no, you can't. It's a wrap.
It's kind of one
But-
of those situations where, like, you're gonna get old enough to see your parent for truly the person that they are, as opposed to me telling you how they are.
Right.
Right.
That's,
I
and
always
that's
tell
good.
people, because I know a lot of men too who go through fucked up situations, and I'm like, bro, it's gonna suck, but let the time pass. Because when the time passes, your child is gonna see the person
Yes.
of who they truly are, because it's gonna show. They can't
And that's
hide
a
who
part
they are
of the
forever.
reason why I never stopped him from coming around.
They can't hide who they are forever. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's gonna show.
I know what it's like to grow without a father, so I'm not going to
Can
do that to them.
can a mother be a father?
No.
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 So like this question comes from, I've seen posts on Mother's Day where it's like, I was mother and father. And it's just like
I feel like they say that
I don't know
because
what they
because of how much they take on.
Yeah.
right.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, if I had a son, I could never show you how to be a man. I
No,
could show you.
No. I don't
how-
take him to the barbershop. I've never been to the barbershop with him.
Not only that,
That's his
because
dad.
I
But that's
have,
just to put it in that small perspective.
but I can't say
like,
that because I
I
have a friend who, like, she takes her son to the barbershop.
Yeah,
so
no,
we
I'm
can't.
not. That's not for me. I don't
know-
take him to the salon. I don't take him to the nail salon. That's not for him. That's his dad. That's daddy time. You do the barbershop.
grooming.
There's
I
too
feel
many
like-
men there. They're in my face in front of him.
But you
That's
pretty
not
right.
though,
for
so
me.
they're gonna be in your
Right.
Yeah, right.
They're gonna be like,
Yeah,
ooh.
yeah.
That's not for me.
I like your lashes.
Yeah, they're gonna
Is
be like,
this your real hair? Oh my
Paola,
god.
Paola,
Yes.
let me tell you.
Let
me
this.
tell you. Oh,
They're gonna try to be
yeah,
his stepdaddy.
those are so
Exactly.
cute.
So you see what I'm
Right.
saying? That's not my no.
Right.
That's daddy.
Like I said,
that's
I
all
feel
dad.
like the whole I was daddy, all that shit is just, they just took on multiple roles. But
you could
Right.
say that. You could bump that.
No, a mother absolutely cannot be a father. But we
She said
can
no.
come close.
No, but she could.
We could come close.
Right.
Tell me, expound on that.
In a sense of love. We can give them that love that a father is supposed to give. But we can't give them the teachings that a father is supposed
But
to
the
give.
love from a dad is never gonna match, especially if you have a girl.
Correct.
that validation from a father goes a long way.
I can't say that. I can't say that.
Nope, you can't.
I can't say that.
But I will tell you 100%. I took Mackenzie to the podiatrist today. The only thing she kept saying was, "Where's my dad? Where is my dad? I want to talk to my dad." And the whole time I'm like, "Nigga,
But
I
that's
done
because
picked you
she's
up."
around her father.
Right.
Yeah, of
When you
course.
think they don't.
But how much? Nigga, she go to him on the weekends. Like, I mean,
still,
granted,
he's
but
this is
in
where
their
the
life.
this is where
But
the
ultimately-
tears came in the middle of the night, which is when I broke and I caved and I called him. My daughter has no like, my daughter went for the first time with her father, like went out with him for the first time when she was like maybe 8.
What?
And I can count on 2 hands the times they've seen each
but
other.
that's the other
since.
reason why I said I
And
can't.
they-
I
and
can't
they're-
complain about shit.
And
because
I
just to
can't.
like piggyback on what you're saying is that she cries for him.
I can't complain about shit.
It eats at me. And I'm a single mother, and guess what, Zoe? I cannot fill the void that is in their heart for
Right.
the paternal figure that they know is alive and exists somewhere. It's as if it's almost as if it was a death, except worse because he's alive.
Right.
Hence the term deadbeat.
I'm sorry, I can't. My kids actually grew up with their father. We didn't separate until my oldest was like, what, 9?
So then,
If that,
so
no,
they
she
have-
was older. No, yeah, like
My
9.
son never seen us together. We were never, like, when I was pregnant, that's when we broke up.
We were living together.
So we were always cool. Like, we
Right.
always had
See,
that
that's the
cool-
thing, because I feel
like-
like for me and my daughter, like, we were together, but I don't feel like she was old enough to remember when
No,
we
yeah.
were together.
He's always seen us. We always cool. It wasn't. Yeah, there's no animosity. He's never really
Yeah.
experienced that with us, between us.
Yeah.
So
And then
Oh,
that's
bless
the other thing,
Yeah.
because I will never, I really don't, I never referred to my daughter's father as my baby father. I don't do that. Like, just because out of respect for him, I always be like, yeah, my daughter's father, my daughter's father. Even
Instead of my baby
prior,
daddy, right?
prior to that, I was like, before I even had kids, I was
Yeah,
just like,
that
I'm
is-
never gonna be a baby
he's
mother.
my
And even to
BF.
this day,
we joke with each other.
yeah,
with that.
we'll joke when
Yeah,
me and him
yeah.
are talking to each other. I'd be
Yeah,
like,
my
oh,
BD. I'd be like, oh,
I'm chilling with my baby daddy.
Yeah.
But I
Right.
never, like, if I'm
No.
having an actual conversation,
Right,
I'd be like,
no,
nah, Mackenzie's
same.
dad or Kenzie's
Same.
dad or my
That's
daughter's
so
father.
And
awesome.
he
But I
always
never
praises
do that
me
though.
in front of my son. It
Right.
makes me feel weird because but
But
he's always
and I've
praising me in
also
front of
never
my
done
son.
that. I've never talked shit about my
No, me
daughter's
neither.
father
In front of
in
her.
front of
Right.
her.
Me neither.
And then we've always had this thing where if we ever had a disagreement or argue, we're not gonna do that in front of her. And
Right.
we I'm not gonna lie, we did that one time. But in that aspect, I was just like, bro, you can't try to undermine me in front of her because I have her literally Monday through Friday. So I don't want her to be on some shit where she's like, well, I don't have to listen to you because I'm going to my dad. And you think whatever happens here is not gonna happen at your father's house? Because I got your father's
how old
number.
is she? How old is she?
She's 6. She's turning
she's
7 in August.
Right.
So
We just started, so I used to have weekends too. I used to have weekends off. That's what I like to say. But now we have the week. Now he takes him for the week.
So this is the thing.
So we alternate weeks.
We used to do we because we don't have like
And that's
a court.
awesome. The weeks are awesome.
We don't have a court.
I can
So
imagine.
No, we
prior
either.
I
we
can
used to
only-
do we did a week to week basis because she used to go to school like up the block from my house and he lived not too far. So prior we did a week to week basis. So I would have her for a week and then he would have her for a week. And then we changed it and then I would have her like Monday through Thursday night. He would have her Thursday night through Monday. He wanted that so he could drop her off to school and do homework with her and shit like that. But now I have her Monday through Friday because of where he moved. So I have her Monday through Friday. He picks her up Friday night and I pick her up either Sunday afternoon. But then we'll see each other sometimes throughout the week because my daughter does softball. Softball's by my house. He lives 30 to 45 minutes away. So wherever we are, depending on where we are, he either can make it or he can't. But like I said, whatever the situation throughout the week, if she has a game, I'm always there. There was actually like a situation last year where she was doing softball and I expressed to him like, yo, she's crying because you can't make it to a game. Like literally every single one of her games, you have to work. So like, you know, your daughter's crying for you. When I told him that, he showed up to the game. He was like, I told him that I had to fix my schedule. So it was just like, I can't complain completely about, I could complain, but
Right, you can
I
find
can't
something.
100% complain because like I said, when I need you to show up, you show up. So I can't be like, oh, my daughter's father's a deadbeat, because you're not. You're 100% not a deadbeat.
I
Right.
never
You
had
show
a
up for your
situation where
kid
they
when you
cry
need to
for
show up
him,
for your
though.
kid, huh?
I can't remember a situation when they cry for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of the Father's Day post, because since I'm a single mom and I really did do it without him entirely
Right.
from when they were babies, starting my second pregnancy. So like when they were babies, because they're back to back, they're Irish twins.
Yeah.
Right.
When someone congratulates me on Father's Day, I correct them because I have two men in my life that took over his role that I cannot undermine and I will not ignore. My brother and my father.
Right.
My kids call my father daddy. And my brother is always present. He has my son in basketball. He has my daughter in salsa classes. He just finished paying for my son to finish his karate lessons. When he goes a couple weeks with working too much or whatever, not I need the kids. I haven't seen them in a while. We're gonna do some like uncle, like nephew, niece kind of thing. And when I get congratulated, I said I appreciate your intent, but if you want to congratulate the father of my kids, you can contact my brother and my father.
Right.
Because from when the moment we separated, my brother was only 16 because I'm the oldest. My brother finished high school with honors, got a scholarship into one of the best CUNYs in New York, is now working for Bloomberg. And still with all that, if my kids had an asthma flare up in the middle of the night, it didn't matter that he had a final the next day. He was the one driving me if my father couldn't. When one time I was hospitalized with my daughter for bronchitis and she was only 7 months, and my parents were downstairs with my son who also fell with his asthma. So my son is in the ER in the first floor, and I have my infant who's on the third or fourth floor in the NICU. So like I have men in my kids' lives that I can honor.
Right.
But of course they're older and they understand that they have a dad and who he is, and it's sad. It's so sad, and I love hearing co-parenting stories, because the last time I told him we don't have to be together to have a co-parenting relationship, he's like, well, this is what happens when parents separate. It's just like, you sound real salty for someone who's happily married for 11 years.
Right.
Because what kind of response is that?
Right.
Oh, well, yeah, I got to work so hard to pay your child support, but you're not paying it though.
Right.
So like, you understand what I'm saying?
But what
So-
happened?
But what happened?
Right,
But
right.
what
So like, so
happened?
what is it? And then when I told him about my son being bullied and my daughter having a meltdown emotionally, he was just like, I can't even say that on camera because I don't want my kids to watch this eventually and see. But it's just, I don't think a mother can be a father. Ever, never, never, ever, never, never,
Right.
never. Not, they're apples and oranges, cat and dog, black and white. You can give parental love, you can give guidance, you can give nurturing, you can give advice. You
Right.
can probably do better than if the father was in their life. But a paternal figure is so important. And I feel like it was, especially in the beginning, hard for me to be like, I don't need nobody. I don't. Now I'm starting to, especially that they're getting a little bit older and I'm maturing a little bit, I feel like, no, like, it's unfortunate. This is my situation. They will have to deal with this in their own way in their adult years, but absolutely not. I'm not their father.
Right.
And I can never be their father or replace anything that he could do for them.
Right. Next topic. Gentle parenting.
Oh, no, that shit don't
I'm
work.
trying now
Yeah.
with a teenager.
No, that shit don't work.
I curse.
My daughter's a thug.
Yeah, I curse. My son
I
curses. I allow
actually-
him to
You
curse.
gentle parent?
Yeah. From when they were babies.
I do
does
speak
it
about
work?
emotions.
What do you consider gentle
Yeah, I was
parenting?
about to say, what's
So
what is gentle parenting?
This is the confusion with gentle parenting. There's something called gentle parenting, and then there's parents who don't do shit.
Right.
So as a gentle parent, there's a lot of like misinformation. There's a lot of stigma, especially in the minority community, because
Like,
I
Bobby,
was
go
raised
sit
with
in the corner.
no,
No,
not
I
at
don't
all.
see it
I
like
saw-
that. But
I
that is.
I
one.
saw a
There's
post
people
that
go
this
that
lady
deep.
this
People
lady
go.
showed her example of gentle parenting, and like her son threw a cup across the room, and she was
No,
like,
Bobby.
so what you're gonna do, are you gonna pick that up and then whatever, and then she fast forwarded it, like I guess he's like 7 now, or whatever the case may be. She's like still gentle parenting, and he did something else, like he threw flour everywhere, or he it was like her protein shit. It was all over the floor, and she's like, so what's going on? He's like, yeah, it's okay when we make a mess, but we're gonna clean that up.
So see that
I was looking at that and just such anger.
Videos like
are you kidding me?
Videos like
Create
that
misconceptions.
create misconceptions.
Yeah.
And it was when I'm the oldest and I'm the first one with kids. So when I introduced the idea of gentle parenting in my family, who is my support system, especially my dad and I, we bumped heads real bad.
Because they had the
Because-
chocolate.
Yeah, no,
Yo.
If I'm lucky, the chancleta. Like my parents were very hands-on parents.
Love you.
But because of that, I saw that shit didn't work. I was the one who got hit the most, the worst,
Right.
disciplined the hardest, and I was the worst.
Right.
Of all the 5 of us, Ma, shout out to you. I'm sorry.
But you were also the oldest, though.
No. I
But you could tell
it's
she
not-
was a knucklehead.
I feel
Yeah.
that
Right?
I was.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
Listen.
She liked La
I see
Calle.
it. I see it.
She liked La Calle.
So and what's crazy is that they were so strict and scary. I was scared of my parents.
and you
that I
still,
was-
you
but
figured it out.
I did figure it out because it got to the point that they were
I
so
was-
strict
It's
that like
like,
I got
oh, no,
honors in
it's
school.
amazing.
Like I would get straight A's, and I remember winning 2 baseball tickets. And my dad said I couldn't go. And I said, okay, I got 2 tickets. Could you come with me? I'm not telling you, let me go by myself. He's like, I work that day. I can't take you. And I'm like 15. I said, so I'm getting all these great grades. I have scholarships coming in the mail in like freshman year. And like, I'm doing all this work. I don't go out. I literally hang out at church. At the time I was like in church. Like I would be like, church, yes. Like that.
Yeah.
And you still, like, it's always a problem. Like everything is a problem. So at 16, I started to rebel. And it wasn't intentional. I was just fed up. Like I don't dress how I want. I don't talk how I want. Everything is a problem. So I started to act out.
Right.
Mind you, I was hit from when I was very little. Like they didn't just hit me at 16 when I started acting out. My parents did not spare the rod. They definitely used their force to get it done. And the challenge with that is like, it don't fucking work. It doesn't. Every time I see somebody that does something, oh, this is why you gotta spank your kids. This is why you gotta hit your kids. To be very honest, there was a study conducted
Yeah, you can open this.
amongst like and I don't want to paraphrase. I hate
Nah,
saying
you
shit
can
out
say
my
that.
ass.
Right.
But there was a study that was conducted with prisoners,
Right.
and the study came back that most of them were spanked in their upbringing. So what's the excuse there? No, y'all just want a reason to be hitting on kids. It's so bad. It's so... Listen, and
don't do that.
Don't do that.
Because I
Don't
just
do that.
popped my daughter before we got here.
Don't do that.
Listen, that's how I... I'm not
Don't do
saying...
that.
Oh, wait. Shout out to my
I
kids.
haven't in a long time.
Right. So shout out to my
I
kids.
definitely am a popper. Like I've stopped myself because I go a little bit overboard.
I do stop myself, but
So here's the thing.
I pop when it calls for it.
So here's the thing. Part of... So... My kids, if they ever watch this, they're gonna be look at her being a hypocrite. She knows she hit us. But here's the thing. Because I'm trying to be intentional about the gentle parenting, the physical discipline is like last resort. I'm not saying that I have never popped my child, but there's a difference between a pop and then some of the things that you see on the train, some of the things that you see at the supermarket where you're like, wow, like I can't even be in the same space as that because I have to walk away. Because to be honest, I know kids get under our skin.
Right.
And I know there are kids that just, they know better. We know
And
our
that's
kids.
what my daughter
Right.
was itching it today. She was itching it. And Jessica was like, you be talking about me. And I'm like, nah, bro. She was itching it because I walked away. And she said something under her breath.
pretty sure she ain't really say nothing. She kept talking. Like I'm not going to. She kept talking. She didn't say nothing crazy. She was just like, "What did I do? What did I do?" And I get it because, like I said, in your situation, you trying to teach her, like, bro, when I tell you something, stop talking back. Just period.
Right.
It doesn't matter how much of the talk back you do. Even asking, what did I do? You know what the fuck you did. Like, within the situation.
And as you asking, I'm
But you see,
explaining to you what you did.
I have a problem. I have problems then because he's a boy, right? He's nigga.
He don't give.
Right?
He don't care.
He be like, you got it. I'm like, what? He be like, all right, Ma, you got it.
Yo, don't
see?
Oh!
He be like, you right. He be like, you right.
My son.
And I'm like,
So my son was.
That's probably
you right.
why God didn't
You
give me
see?
a boy.
I feel like that's why God didn't give me a boy. You
right.
You hear Mackenzie's
Shit
mouth.
like that would have got
You
a
hear
diss to his
Mackenzie's
head.
mouth.
Exactly.
If I had a
He's
boy,
not
bro.
talking back, but
if
he's
I had a
telling me,
boy-
Ma, you right. And I'm like,
No, if I had a boy, you already know.
My son.
I'd have
My
bust
son-
that nigga a couple times.
I remember. I
His is just
so
straight
again,
rip shots. We just
the
do
thing
rip
is that
shots.
as a Latina,
You gonna hurt.
I have to unlearn a lot because like not only it's very, very common. Like if you go to my country, like you'll see a 2-year-old flying because the parents smacked them. And I just didn't want that for my kids. But I also my kids don't run my house. My kids do not run my house. And that's the problem with gentle parenting, especially in the lighter community. You know, they'll be like, oh, Johnny,
I feel like
how did that feel? No, so what I do to take into consideration is my kids' feelings and what they
I
have
do
to
that.
say.
That's what I do.
What
I
they
feel
have
like
to
for
say.
us-
But advocate
But-
for himself.
but
I
the-
do that. That I do. Too.
Like before, my parents thought everything was talking back.
yes.
I couldn't ask a question because everything was talking back. I'd just be like, well, Ma, why,
agree.
if you're asking me to do
I do
this,
do
be like,
that when I
why are you talking
Of
back?
course.
It's not talking, mommy, I'm asking you and we have this issue to this day as an adult.
Right.
The other day, I don't know what my mom said, and I said, Ma, with all due respect, when I'm running out the house, it is not the time. Wow, you're so grosera. Like rude, like mean, like audacious, like
Yeah.
bold. And I'm just like, I lost it. I'm a grown woman now. So I'm just like, wow, lady, is there any way that I can ask you something without it being considered talk back? Anything at all? Because if she's telling you a directive or she's giving you something to do,
But it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And that's what I'm trying to teach my daughter. It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
that
But
there's truth in
I
that.
will
But
say-
the
that you know the relationship that I have with my mother. My mother has never considered anything. I kid you not, like in the aspect of me and my mom, we grew up in a lot of different things, and she considers me a person. I curse around my mother. I have opinions around my mother, and that's how I'm teaching my daughter to be. Express yourself. Be your.
I didn't
person.
have that though. I didn't have that. So I had a upbringing like that, like yours, where it's everything was a talk back. So that's why
but of
I practice
course.
it with my son.
I had that as
course.
well.
Yeah,
I
I
had that as
practice
well,
with him, and
too.
it
We do
and it
feel like-
creates a better relationship amongst you guys too, like amongst me and my son.
But
You know?
that's not to say that when I was a grown up, I was getting fucked up. Like, I feel like there is nothing wrong.
Stop.
I feel like there's
Stop.
nothing wrong with me. So because I feel like the way that my mom brought me up, there's nothing wrong with the way that she brought me up. So if I feel like I gotta fuck you up every now and again, then I might have to fuck you up every now and again. If I gotta put my hands on you to show you that you need to respect me, I'm going to do that. Because I'm not going to let you opinionate yourself so much that you feel like your opinion is higher than what I am in your life. I'm your mother. You're going to respect
so
me.
I
I'm
definitely
keeping
have
on
to
the
give my
couch.
kids
Absolutely.
reality
I
check.
could probably count on my hands how many times I beat my kids.
Right.
And I don't mean pop. I mean physically beat.
Mhm.
And it was only one time that I can remember with my oldest daughter. And I think never with my youngest daughter. So my oldest daughter, this is when YouTube started first
be
getting
trying.
popular. She
Right.
tried it.
Right.
She was making a YouTube video in class,
Right.
disrespecting the teacher.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh.
Disrespecting the teacher on YouTube.
Sorry.
The teacher sent me the video.
Oh.
I was at work. Y'all already know what happened next. I left work, went to school, and beat her ass in the classroom.
Right.
They was like, "Oh, Miss Davis, you can't do." Nope.
You can.
She's
You
gonna
could
get this
discipline your
because y'all
kid.
shouldn't have called me.
Right.
Yeah, you could discipline.
Right.
Them. You
If
can.
Right.
didn't want me
Yeah.
to handle it the mom way, you want the
You
call.
shouldn't
Yeah.
have called.
Yeah.
But you want to hear what the gag is? Prisha had to get her ass beat in school like that too before.
My son too.
In the same school.
My son-
In the same fucking
Yeah.
school. Prisha had to get her ass beat like that before
No.
too.
I feel when you, I'm sorry, real quick. You mentioned the
you're good.
Wednesday 12:30. I feel like we all have the same. What
What are you guys in charter school?
Yeah. 'Cause
Charter
my
school.
son gets out early on Wednesdays too, but
You
he's
go to
in middle school. Oh no, he's success.
Oh my
I can't stand success.
Success.
I used to teach that.
My
success.
kid,
Yeah,
my,
that's
my
success
youngest
guy.
go to democracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to.
They
We
tried
do,
to
I
hire
do
me
pizza
before.
parties at Democracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a preacher?
No, I used to be a teacher.
A
Oh, I,
teacher.
I heard you're I do
bye.
preacher
No,
pods.
no,
I'm just like,
no,
I'm just like,
no.
go.
I
We're
seen
over
the
here
post. You the one
cursing
that do
and
the
drinking.
pizza parties for the
You
good
know
kids.
what?
Yes.
That's how me and Paola know
Yeah,
each
he
other.
came to my school.
She knows
Mm.
He
I
did a
pull
pizza
up.
for Mackenzie.
Yeah.
I pull up. I
Okay.
pull up.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
So,
his thing.
Paola, before you have to go, I got 2 back-to-back questions.
Okay.
Right?
Let's
so,
listen.
how well did your mother prepare you to be a mother?
Well,
Mm.
this is funny.
Mami,
Well,
te quiero. Don't
mucho,
worry.
mucho. Because when I first had my son, I was 20. I was never an affectionate person,
Right.
right? So I remember having him, and I'm like, "Mami, ¿qué hago? What I do? What I do with him?" And she's like, "Bríncalo, like bounce him, like up and down, and just go nene." Like, I feel like it's so silly, but it taught
It
me
means
that
a lot.
it meant so much because that's how I just started to be affectionate. That's what kids need.
Right.
Yeah, a
They
lot of
need
love.
affection. They need
do.
love. You said that
So
earlier. They
much
need so
more
much
than
love.
what we think. We think we
And
need
it
to
was that
smother
simple,
them.
bríncalo, jump him, that I'm like, this is what you do? So that's how I say my mom prepared me. She taught me how to be affectionate. She taught me how to, show the love instead of just doing. Because, some people don't know how to show love, be
yeah.
affectionate. They just feel like by doing and giving, that's love.
Correct.
But it's not. It's the affection part that the kids feel.
I have a part of that. That's
Talk.
crazy.
Go.
No, because it's her turn. But
No,
I have,
I'm done.
I
I'm done.
have
It's all
a part
you.
of that
It's all you.
because
Yeah.
I give love to a minimum, but I feel like giving my daughter everything she asks for, that's me showing the other part of I love you.
But it's not though,
Right.
because then she's gonna continue to ask for more. And what's gonna happen?
But
when
we
she
already
asks
at that point. It's too late.
But what happens when
It's
she?
too
Well,
late.
I'm
it's
saying
never
what
too late
what
to be
happens when
more
she asks for
affectionate.
more that you can't provide?
I used to tell her that her father was Bow Wow. I think she really believes that.
Right.
But
My father was Bow Wow.
Shout out
she
to
was in
Bow
love with
Wow.
Bow Wow. Ever since she
Shout
was
out
like,
to
fuck
Shaq
Bow Wow.
Moore.
I think she started to believe
Shout out
it
to
'cause she
Shaq
think
Moore.
I
She's
got
been in
money.
love with you literally ever since she was like 5.
Shout out to Bow Wow.
When I interview Bow, I'm invited. I tell you,
With
like,
the
listen,
kids, with his kids.
With his
Oh,
kids.
please
With his
do.
kids.
But I will say that I feel
Look, I'm
like
blushing. Like, stop.
my little daughter from the Scream Tour.
I feel like in the
Right.
sense of like preparing you to be a mother, it just happens in the aspect because when we're in the hospital, literally nobody prepares you for shit. When you're in the hospital, they prepare you for how you take care of the child.
Right.
They don't prepare you for how you take care of yourself after
So,
the fact.
Mm-mm.
And even when you go to the 3-day checkup, when you go to the week checkup, when you go to the 6-week checkup, they ask you how you are mentally in order for you to take care of the child,
Yeah.
not for you how to take care of yourself. So when you go to that checkup, they ask you literally, "Oh, so have you been feeling any mental thoughts in aspect of
harming the
hurting
child.
the child? Have you been trying to harm the child within you having the child within the past 3 days, within the week, within the 6 months?" They don't ask you, are you mentally prepared to take care of yourself? I've been in situations where when I had my daughter, I kid you not, I gave birth and I had a paper due. I was in school. I was getting my degree when I had my daughter. So I was still like, after I had her and we did go home, I'm on a lecture and her father's knocking on the door like, "Yo, you got to feed her." And I'm like, "Bro, it's bottles in the fridge." He's like, "Yeah, but she doesn't want the bottle. She's not taking the bottle." So, and I'm just like, "Yo, she's not latching onto me." He's like, "What do you want me to do?" So I'm trying to figure out how she's going to latch onto me and how I'm going to
Right.
finish the
Paper.
lecture. And then there were situations where I had her propped up on a pillow, I'm breastfeeding her, and I have my laptop. And I fell asleep like that. Like I'm like literally like this, and she's it's crazy. So like that's why I said like everything, it will come in a full circle, but ultimately at the end of the day, everything being a mom is fucking crazy.
Right. So I know you have to go.
Yeah, I have to run.
Right.
Sorry.
But
It's okay.
as a mom,
Okay.
message to your younger self.
Mm.
This is
As
only,
a
this is
mom,
only a
message.
follow-up
I'm gonna
question.
just say it quick.
'Cause I
Run.
have 2 questions for everyone else, but she has to go. Go ahead.
Run.
She said run.
I feel like message to my younger self as a mom. I don't that's a really good question. I've never thought
Never
of
thought
that.
about that, right?
Because I would say, oh, listen to my parents, but then if I listen to my parents, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Right.
I don't know if it's just like maybe
Take the question in knowing what you know now.
I would say be more appreciative of things. Yeah. Just be more appreciative because my son, although he's very appreciative, he's very grateful and he expresses that and I love that. And I wish I had that. I wish I was able to express that. Like just be more appreciative of the things that I had around me, the people.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's
so
a good one.
I'd say that. Just be more appreciative and grateful.
Right.
That's a good one.
I like that.
Well, I know you got to go pick up mommy. So
Yeah, she's at the airport.
Oh, nice.
Which one, JFK?
JFK is 40 minutes. And she's
Yeah.
like, I'm picking up my maletas.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like, oh,
go
man.
get her.
Right, yeah.
All right.
Do
It
what
was
you
nice.
gotta do.
It was nice to
meeting you guys.
Yes, of course.
It was great
Thank
meeting
you always. Thank
Always.
you
I
always.
appreciate
We
you.
gotta have
Through.
some mommy juice together. I know you
Yeah.
don't
And
drink
we gotta exchange
We'll make them
Instagrams.
Mama mimosas.
Yeah.
Mocktails.
Mocktails.
Right.
We gotta exchange Instagrams.
Yeah. So drive safe. JFK is not going
I
nowhere.
don't guarantee that, but
Oh.
She's gonna. I felt that.
So do I move, maybe?
I felt that.
Nah, you good. You good.
Oh,
you
she-
good.
Nah, I get what she's saying, but if I had to say that, I would say heal.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a big one.
We can't touch on that though. He got 2 questions for us.
Nah, touch on it.
Nah, heal.
Oh, we all?
This is your guys' day, not mine. I'm just here facilitating, but healing. Talk about it. Expound on it.
Past
please.
traumas.
Right.
Sure.
That's the biggest shit. Like, I don't know if I could curse. Can I curse?
Yeah,
You've been cursing this whole time.
Right.
She's like 2 minutes.
But I always say, can I say that? Right? I always say, can I say that? But yeah, past traumas, heal. Therapy. Black people can't go to therapy.
Charlamagne the God said, go to therapy.
Right.
Black people go to therapy. I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't been to therapy. I feel like I'm my own therapist because I'm a Gemini.
I started, I ain't finished.
When's your birthday, Jess?
May 25th.
Oh, I'm the 11th. June 11th.
Ew.
It's that time of year. You know what I'm saying?
Gemini.
I can't say that because we get along. I'm a Libra, Big Al.
Yeah, but
My
I'm a
sister's
fly
a
ass
Libra.
Gemini.
I only get along with one of my siblings. I got two Libra siblings.
Really? October is the one you get
First
along
and
with.
third.
Oh, they both October.
I get along with the first.
But I'm still a fly ass Gemini. That's not what we're talking
It's a
about.
fact,
At the
you
end
know,
of
we
the day.
on
What I'm
game.
saying
Nah,
The most
is,
brilliant
October
people in the
Libras is
world
the
is
best. I
Gemini.
don't
because we're
care.
creative.
That's a
My
fact.
baby daddy is a Gemini, so I don't know how I feel about y'all.
Ah, shit.
My
He's
baby
the
daddy is
exception.
I ain't get you
Sagittarius.
pregnant,
That
though,
should
so
tell
you
you
like me.
everything. What's your sign?
I'm an Aries.
Aries.
I'm a March Aries.
You
I
look-
actually don't even.
You look crazy.
My
So
mother
you
is
sure
a
it was on him?
March Taurus?
No, I hold myself accountable. I think.
Yeah.
Listen.
Do you though?
I hold myself accountable for the failure of the relationship with the father of my kids, but I hold him entirely
You talking about
accountable
him? No, I'm lying.
for
Yeah, I'm
his
talking about
lack
him.
of ownership as a father.
Right.
Like, there's no reason for him or anybody on this planet in 2023 with all the internet, with all the mental health and everyone needs a father and go be there for your kids. There's no reason, there's no trauma, there's no bullshit ass
man, bro.
excuse
Right.
to be a deadbeat in 2023. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's just none. And because I feel like I had so much friction, with my mom growing up until I had kids. I will say that, because I know we like 4 topics ahead, but one of the things that I really, really, really want to put out into the world, the universe, the internet, everything, like, when I had my kids, I healed a lot of motherhood trauma with my own mother.
Right.
And when I had my kids, I realized I could never be half the woman that she is. I grew to respect her in ways that I needed to learn.
Right.
And I'm glad that, unfortunately, it had to happen through being a young mom and seeing her really show up for me in ways that I I could never repay her for.
Right.
But like as a mom myself now, like I'm just like, wow, I ain't shit. Like, cause she really like she was always above and beyond, like too much over the top. Of course, it trickled down into the discipline, it trickled down into other things, but I'm very blessed. And after having my kids, I realized my mom taught me more than I ever knew. Like because of her, I breastfed at 19 years old. Because of her, I don't know. I just feel like I was very honored to have that in my life. Cause without her, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Because of my mother, I am what I am.
Shout out
Right.
to our
But-
mothers.
Yeah, shout out to our mother.
Shout out to our
Shout-
mothers.
Shout out
I
to
love
my
you, mommy.
mom.
I love you, mommy.
Her mom. That's my titi, and I love
Oh my
her
God,
like
spare me.
world. Like,
So as a
Bye-bye.
man who had mommy issues, I appreciate my mother more now as a man for what she prepared me for.
mm,
And I know she gave me everything she could give me, which was a lot. But I would say the emotional standpoint is where she failed. But as far as supportive, I was always all my siblings were always well kept.
So
You know what
how
I'm saying?
many overall siblings do you have?
From her,
Yeah.
I only have 2 from her.
Okay.
It's 3.
So
But from
as
my
far
father,
as-
I got 7 in total.
Okay, so as far as your mom and growing up, and how many did you live? You live with all of them.
Yeah, I live with it was 5 of us in total. The 2 others I didn't find out about till my father passed away.
Okay, and
Yeah.
that was from your dad.
Yeah, my
Okay,
father.
we're not talking about daddy. We're talking
Yeah,
about
no,
mommy.
but I'm saying though, like the reason why that's pivotal is because I grew up with both of those brothers, but both of those brothers had another brother.
No, but what I
Mhm.
say for
Right.
that is in that aspect of growing up.
who did you live with?
All of those 4, all of those. I lived with
Oh, so
all
you
the-
live with those 2, the father.
Yeah,
kids.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I
okay,
didn't know
okay.
they had another brother. That's what
Oh,
I'm
okay,
saying.
okay,
Like
okay.
those other brothers that. So when my father did what he didn't tell the story straight. So
Mm,
what happened
you
was,
never do. But go ahead.
Mhm.
you keep one, I keep one. So he had 2 baby mothers, and he took 2 to America, and the other 2 stayed back.
Mm,
Right. So those are the other 2 that I didn't know about until he passed away. For
okay.
me, so my mother would always say funny shit about that shit, but obviously she was right. You know what I'm saying? I learned about that like later on, but I feel like if my mom would have done her healing, like everything would have been kind of better. Or I
Different.
would
Do you
have.
feel
You
like
would've
now
been more.
hearing everything that you heard from us,
Right.
as far as everything that we've been through with our kids' dads, do you feel like you said, you've healed from that, but do you see like a different perspective from your mother now?
It's
Nah,
a
you know why?
different
Because
situation.
my mom, my pops, like my mother, to this day, is still like a
Not
rock.
really
Closed off
Yeah, she's
emotionally.
still
But
like
do you
that.
feel like that's something that your father did?
Nah,
Or-
that's
That's her
something that
past
happened in
traumas,
her
and
life.
that's why healing
Yeah,
Is
is a
necessary.
major part.
that's something that happened in her life because when my father died, she was like, "Yeah, the person who gave a fuck about her feelings is dead." That's what she told me.
Oh,
So I'm like, "Yo, what is that?" Like, and I promise you, if I told her she said that, she was like, I ain't say that," but she did say it. That's a fact.
sucks.
You feel me? So I've learned to deal with my mother in different spaces, and I've given her a lot of grace. But what happens with me is I don't run towards my mother no more.
I feel like as a mom, I would never have been able to say that to my child.
Yeah.
And I feel like but that's the other
But you don't know what she's been through.
Yeah.
I don't. But
She been through some shit.
And not
and I-
everybody handles
I get it.
pain
and I
the
get
same.
that. I get that. But ultimately, I feel like for me as a person, you could stab me in my back and I would still turn around and be
And help
like, bro,
you.
I saw what you just did. But if you need me, I'm still going to be here for you.
Right.
And I feel like as my child, as
Right.
somebody, I didn't ask you to be here.
Right.
I did what I did for you to be here. So
Right.
it is my responsibility.
Yeah.
And the resentment that I have either towards you or towards your father, that is always going to be put aside because you already know I have people in my life who they can never spin the block.
Right.
But if they decide to spin the block because of who I am, I'm never going to put that aside. I'm always going to put that aside and be
Right.
like, if you need me, I'm always going to be here.
Right.
But that's just the person.
but
that I am.
especially for your child. So I get what you're saying. Like, if you would do that for someone who's like
Right.
especially for your kid. But I feel like I don't know what your like ethnicity is, like background, where your mom
Honduran.
is from,
He's
Honduran.
Honduran.
So you know what it is. My mom, she is a keeper of the home. We were always well kept. My mom was on point. When I can't, if I start talking about my mom, we're gonna need a whole nother 3 hours. But just to sum it up, the one thing that she lacked, which is why I am overly loving. Like I'm annoyed. You ever seen a chihuahua that don't stop barking? When it comes to like
I got one.
when it's when it comes to my kids and my affection, it's
Oh yeah, he left
Poppy
me with
this.
2 kids
my-
and a dog.
Oh.
Good fucking night.
Listen, no, I was not able to receive affection from my mom. It was my father who was more affectionate, more like, Mamita, please stop acting out. Da, da, da. My mom was just like, she was the punitive parent. She was very hard. My mom was a thug. My mom was very hard.
I'm not gonna hold you. My mama was a thug too. But
She'll show you she loves you by the way she serves you your meal, by the way she makes sure the house is done, by the way she makes your bed. But that wasn't my love language. Every child has 5 love languages.
everybody has five love
The
languages.
same love language that you have in your relationship, that's the one you carry from childhood. And my love language is words of affirmation. I need to be told I love you. You did such a good job. You like even at work when I'm in sales, when I do a great job, some salespeople like in my department, they don't really care like for the praise. I need it. Like it puts batteries in my back. Like, wow, look at you. Big ups. Like, and my mom is not like that. So what my brother does to get affection out of her, he's smothering her in affection, but with her and I and the females in her, it's different. It's like it's a block.
You already know in a Latina household they coddle the men.
They do, but even still, my mom as that is true, and he definitely got more benefits and privileges than we did.
Coddle the men.
But she didn't. But she was not. But she was not that affectionate still with him. She was a little bit more, but still very, very dry, very business-like.
Is different, so we're not gonna talk.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying like that's not only in Latina households.
Yes, it is.
Right.
No, it's not.
It's a.
I think minorities they prefer the men.
I
they love on the men.
On that, but
I see it. I work in a school which is
now.
predominantly Black and Latino, and I
can't
hear
say nothing.
You have
over
sisters.
and over
You have
and over.
sisters, right?
Yes, I do.
I am the only girl of 5 boys.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
and she's the oldest. But go ahead.
So you
what's the
probably
next
got it
question?
real
Right.
hard because they expect they're
They
harsher
expected
on the
more from
females
me
and they expect more
being
from
the
you
oldest
and the
being
female.
the only girl.
Mm-hmm.
They expected way more from me.
Girls are always different.
So I was a mother before I was even a mother.
Right.
And
Because when I had to take care of my brothers.
Right.
So, yes.
we didn't get through all your questions. I feel bad.
Nah, we got through majority
We got
of the
through
good ones.
I mean, we got a little time here.
Do
But
we really?
what? I mean, listen.
keep telling us to wrap it up.
Listen. You gotta come in here and wrap
Make
it up.
sure we good.
Listen. What is the grace period? To meet, to let someone meet your kids.
Ooh, can I answer that?
Go ahead.
Someone can
No.
never meet my kid.
I was about to say no.
Someone can never.
She's never
They
dated
could
anybody long
never.
enough to
A
ever
man
meet
could
her kid.
never meet my kid until they're grown or we're married.
She's never let
No man has, and I've been on dates and I've dated and I have 2 girls, so I'm very defensive of that. No one I've ever dated has ever met my kids.
I can't say that. My ex-boyfriend met my daughter.
So I understand that 100% because I have a daughter, but I also can't marry someone if you're not compatible with my kids. So I don't know if there's like a time and
He's
a
pretty
grace
much
period.
asking like how long would
So
you
no,
allow, like,
yeah, no, I understand, but it's just it is very dependent. Like
Right.
I have gone on a date, and to this day, sorry, because he's probably maybe watching. I don't know. I went
My
on a
bad, bro.
date with this guy, and he to this day don't. I mean, again, to this day don't know I have kids because of how I met him. I went to vex him first.
But that's fine.
But what I'm saying is
That's
that
not fine
it's,
that he
it's,
doesn't know you have kids.
No,
That's
no,
not fine.
it is.
That's fine.
Yes,
You're
it is.
gonna-
On my
no,
first
that's
on a
Fine,
first
because
date, and we met
she's not
online.
talking to him.
Let me tell you something. We
If
went
it's
on
not a situation where we're going to continue anything, you don't really need to know anything
anything about me. So this is the thing. We met on a dating website. And so what happened was I had this mentality. I'm psycho. So I thought like, you know what? If a pedophile wants to target someone, he's going to target a single mom. So what of my dating profile said? No kids. So what
Do you know what they said? Honestly, I'm sorry to cut you off. They said dating a pedophile. He's single. He targets single mothers.
this, I didn't even hear this.
Who looks it was an interview with the pedophile because I watch shit like that because I'm fucking retarded. But it was a guy, they were interviewing a pedophile. They said that he legit came out and said that he targets single mothers.
So here's the thing.
They look like they're looking for someone to be with. So if he sees them in a supermarket, if he sees them like online, he contacts them. So I will continue
I didn't even know about this. This is just me and my own psychosis. Like if like what's the easiest way to get to a child if you're sick in the mind is through a single mom. She works, she's tired, she has kids, you don't always got childcare, so naturally eventually you're gonna be around her kids. So what I did was, this is my plan. I would go on the first date with someone. If the date went well, I was ready to pay just in case it went south. I would tell them, because every first date I went to turned into a second date. However, before we planned and agreed, and I would tell them, listen, I want to see you again. I do want to agree to a second date. I have to be honest about something before we move forward. And then I tell them my reason. I'm like, I have 2 kids. I tell them that what my situation is. And then I did have like one resist a little bit. He was like, well, why wouldn't you say that in your dating profile? And I explained to him, I'm like, listen, I understand that this is not for you. I'm not even upset. Like, I'm willing to pay for both our drinks if that's the case. But the reason is because I know that pedophiles will target a single mother. And I'd rather have you upset because I didn't disclose that information. What's the worst that happened? We had a good time and you had drinks. And he's like, no, I understand. No, he ended up paying. He even paid for my cab home. And that's just how I move. So it's very conditional. I was also with someone who met my kids on the 3rd month mark. And then we were on and off for 4 years. And towards the end, because he started acting erratic and I started to discover things about him, I was just like, soon as like when we were together, until we broke up, I didn't keep, like my kids were only around when I was around. If I was not around, my kids were away. And that ended. But it's just, there's no grace period. Like I can't tell you 4 weeks, 4 months, 2 years, 1 year. I can't marry you if you and my kids are not compatible.
I don't know.
That's
like,
true.
I'm not going to disclose. I'm not going to say I'm not going to disclose I don't have kids. Because I'm going to tell you, yeah, I have kids.
Yeah, I'll tell you too.
Yeah,
when I
have
meet you.
kids.
When I
That's
meet
why I
you and
said
I see
that-
you're not,
But
you
that's
know.
also why we say like everybody is different. You're gonna either be truthful up front or whatever the case may be. But what I will say is, for my situation, I let everybody know, like I told you before, I'm a single parent. I have 1 child. My ex-boyfriend, we were together for almost 2 years. And he met my daughter. We were dating. We made it official. We were dating for like 3 months. We made it official. And then probably after like the 4th or 5th month mark was when he actually met my daughter. When he met my daughter, and even to this day, he is still present in my daughter's life. We haven't been together since November. And even still, he's like, I told him like about the whole Texas trip, or even before that, and he'll call me like, well, who's picking up Mackenzie from school? And I was like, oh, her dad is. And he was like, all right, because if you need me to, I'll pick her up from school. So like he's still there. And I already told him, like, and this is just the way I talk to people, so excuse my language. I'm not cursing, but I was just like, bro, if you're gonna be present, you need to be present. If you're not gonna be there, then don't be there. And we had the conversation of like, if you end up dating someone else, what are you gonna say to them? Like we had that conversation too. And he was just like, yo, I just have to tell her and be completely honest. Like, I have a stepdaughter. And I'm in her life and I'm 100%. He buys her things. He buys her Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, sneakers, whatever she needs.
She needs like her own podcast, because how you pick them? Like you just winning. Like they're all no, because not everyone's compatible. Things are not gonna always work out. But on
even
some real shit,
like I said,
that's real man.
But
Like that's real balls. Like kudos to him and
I kid you not, even to this day, I still love him. Shout out to Dante, love you. But like I said, even
Dante, you know what I mean?
all right, y'all dragging it now. Y'all dragging it now. But like Eva said, like him as a person, he's always been a good guy. He always been a great guy. And even to this day, like I said, there's never anything I could take away from him. He's always been a great guy. He's still there for Mackenzie. He tries to show up when he can show up. He's not always a man of his word. But like I said,
Okay, now we know why it didn't
right, why it didn't work.
Right.
But like
Okay,
I said,
Duncan.
he again, like her
They all
father,
fall
he
short of
shows up
somewhere.
at the most when I need
They
him to
all
show up.
fall short of somewhere, but how much are you willing to
Right.
take?
Correct. Everyone
that
you have-
Exactly.
You have
of the fall
Yes.
short.
Right.
Right.
'Cause
You're exactly
That's
right.
not a bad fall short.
That's not a bad
but
fall
his
short.
other fall
I
shorts.
think that's a horrible fall short. Don't tell me you're gonna do something and you don't. Because I mean,
all a man has is his word.
Oh,
and
yeah.
my grandfather was very
Yes.
like macho and like.
But I
was
feel like
very-
I'm not gonna
But
say
you're
that
not
everybody
gonna
does
find
it,
a
but I feel like in a certain aspect of everybody's life,
You're
everybody does it,
not
where they
gonna
feel like
find nobody
they're gonna
perfect.
come and they're not gonna come.
I
But
agree. You're not gonna
but the
find no one
communication.
perfect. Right. I feel
Communication is very-
100%.
But what are you willing to tolerate?
right, I don't tolerate shit.
As
but go ahead.
a
I
female,
digress.
Right.
she really don't tolerate stuff.
I don't tolerate
And
shit.
I'll cut you off
tolerate
over likes.
As a
I don't give a
Libra,
fuck.
I tolerate
I
a
don't tolerate shit.
lot.
She'll
And
tell you.
I'll hold it, and I'll hold it,
Nope.
and
Right.
I'll hold it,
Do you feel
and I'll
like
hold it.
all right? My sister's a Libra. Do you feel like you like toxic situations?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So that helps me explain.
I
why.
was in a toxic situation for 11 years. Yes, I like
Right.
toxic situations.
Right.
We're breaking free from that actually. So don't
It's
come for her.
2023.
Don't
But
come
let
for
me tell you
her.
this now. You give me one little thought and I'd be like, damn, he used to do that. I can't fuck with you no more.
You're traumatized. You have triggers now.
Right.
So
You're not
now
traumatized.
Right.
So
Anyway.
she
Am
said
I
she's not.
traumatized? Why? Shut up. 'Cause we're not gonna talk about that.
Oh, she not. Anyway.
We're not gonna talk about
We're gonna
that.
have a afties.
Now we gonna go to Toxic Tuesday. We gonna go to Toxic
I'ma
Tuesday.
see y'all
Wait,
all
hold on,
Toxic
because we gonna
Tuesday.
Toxic
We gonna go
Tuesday
to
because we got some shit
Yeah,
to
we
talk
got
about
shit to-
Toxic Tuesday.
So guys, tune in. Well, when we release it, so on Toxic Talks Tuesday, I'm gonna put y'all like as my guest speakers. It's about to
Ew.
be. Oh Lord.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got the group chat. We got to add you to the group chat.
Yes.
But listen,
And let's just say, I was not gonna do this because
But I
was
convinced her.
nervous.
right.
I was
But you
I
did
convinced
great.
her. I convinced her. You convinced her. I convinced her. Right? She's the only
First-
one that's on the
Yeah,
project.
you
First of all,
Ahead of
convinced me.
time.
You only convinced her because she saw the questions. I've been
Right.
talking to her since before we got here.
Because I was really nervous.
But you
Alright.
did great. Sorry, I don't know. Did you do great? Because it's not my podcast. I'm
She
just
did
like,
great.
wow.
She did great.
Like,
For me, she
Nah,
did
she
great.
did
But
amazing.
listen, I know, I understand that we can go on. I mean, this is
the conversation that we
Yeah.
this
can
is a
have.
conversation, but
Endless.
you know, there's other things that we're gonna expound on. You know, I definitely want to call it part 2 someday. But you know, I just want to say I'm proud of every woman in this room. Even Paola, she's not here. Paola and I do a lot of community work, so I do pizza at her school. We did the Fat Joe sneaker, pick a teacher, pick a sneaker. The first
Oh,
school
yeah,
we
yeah,
did
I
that was
remember
at
that.
her school. You know what I'm saying? So she was one of the teachers nominated for that, and she was given she got the gold Air Maxes, I think.
Oh,
that day.
nice. Oh,
Yeah, so they gave us some fire.
the golden bullets.
Right, yeah. So, this conversation is important to me just because you know I want to take back control of that narrative of what a mother is and what like social media is a crazy place where so many narratives are being spun and driven
and
and
it's
shit
all
like that.
about
And I feel like people
something.
forget about what reality really is, what a mother really is, and what a mother's role really is. And it's just like, listen, like one thing, I'm gonna say his name because I need him to clean his act up. But Benji, your mother's a good woman, and she told me not every kid in the street comes from a broken home,
it's the truth. It's the truth.
and that was a fact, and that hit me to my core. Like, you know, and here she is fighting for her son, advocating for her son, finding different alternatives, doing everything she got to do. And it's that nigga that chose the streets, not her.
Right.
But she
Nature, not nurture.
she has so she has gone
Mhm.
to his trap house. She's going everywhere fighting for her son.
Mhm.
And that was a perspective that I've never heard before or seen as a mother. Like, she's like, listen, that nigga not a reflection of me. Because I've done everything I could do for that child. For me, I've compromised everything you could think of for him.
I think if you, I don't know Benji personally, but I feel like if you invited him, or if you had a one-on-one off camera with Benji, he might tell you a different perspective. Because let me tell you something.
Everybody has a different
Yeah.
Correct. Because let me tell you something about mothers, and I include us. I'll include myself. We think we do the best that we
Benji's
could.
different though. Benji's
We
different.
do the best that
No,
we
I
could,
can
and we
tell
give
you.
all that, and we give all that we can and all that. But sometimes my daughter's love language is acts of service,
I'm not
and
gonna
I'm
hold
loving
you.
on her.
My
And
mother had 2 kids, right? I had a conversation. We went to my cousin's, his son's first birthday, and we were driving back home. And my mom has 2 kids. She has me and she has my older sister. And in that conversation while we were driving, and I was like, I'm not gonna hold you. My life has a different perspective as how you perceive it.
Right.
You feel like you gave me and my sister the same opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't see is that every day that you came home from work, you spent 2 hours in her room talking to her. You literally just opened my door and said, "How was your day?" And you closed it, and that was it. I saw and I noticed everything.
And
Correct.
I saw that my sister got accepted into 10 different colleges, private schools, all this other shit. I got accepted into 7 different schools. But the CUNY schools and all those other things, I saw you making the trip to my sister's private school because she got burned by a fucking tea kettle. Like, I saw you making that trip. I saw you and my father making that trip. I saw you being in the living room with her because she got a 75 in English. I saw you guys scolding her endlessly.
But as a mother with 2 kids, I'ma honestly say, from that first child, you
Capricia,
learn with the second.
I'm gonna say with the father being present. So I'm gonna shut your whole shit down right now.
It doesn't
and say
matter
with
about the
being
father.
present. No,
Because-
because you're receiving it from both angles. I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at my mother and my father coming at my sister, and nobody's saying shit to me. I'm looking at me doing whatever the fuck I want to do, and nobody's saying shit to me. But I'm like, oh, here's this egg. Take that. Put that on the fridge. But still,
I have to say, I do that with both of my kids.
but I'm still,
Mom, I'm hungry.
I'm still
Don't make me
looking
come
at
eat
it.
me.
I'm still looking at it as my sister receiving completely endless, and I'm doing whatever the fuck I can to survive.
I get what you're saying.
And that was a conversation that I had with my mother, where when we did have that conversation, she was looking at me like, I didn't even know that you felt this way.
correct, and at least that was her approach. But
She
many
got
times women
defensive.
get defensive.
No, she got
because
defensive.
women, we are so, oh my God, motherhood is so heavy.
No,
that
but-
like the first thing that we defend is our motherhood.
Of course.
And so I'm actually very happy that was your experience, even if she got defensive in a little
Of
bit.
course,
But there's
she
moms
definitely
that,
did get
like
defensive.
as great as she is, my own mom. You can't tell her about anything she does. She starts slamming things. She's like, yeah, because y'all just want everybody to be perfect. Like
But
just,
I'm not
just
gonna hold
even,
you.
not
I
even-
would have gotten defensive too in that situation because
But
I didn't look at it in the situation of you're raising 2 kids, you're doing whatever you got to do.
But that doesn't remove your experience, Jess.
Of course,
That
it
doesn't
never
remove your trauma.
Of
That
course
doesn't silence how you felt as a child. And I feel like, especially in minority households, like emotions are downplayed. The gaslighting is severe. It's not
it
even.
is.
It's severe. Like what?
Goes
I said
back
that.
to healing.
So what I'm saying is, I'm sure, just like my mom is amazing, and I definitely did not listen to her.
Mommy, you
a
still
lot of
amazing.
things,
I love you to death.
but I'm sure as amazing as a woman that you know Benji's mom to be, and I don't know Benji or his mom, but as an amazing woman that you describe her to be based on your perception, only Benji would know. Behind closed doors, what he had to feel towards his own mother.
Because again,
perhaps
perspective.
things that she's not even aware of, or maybe he tried to make her aware of, and she shut it down because I pay for your school, and I cook for you, and I wash your socks by hand, and I've sweat all my life. Like it's almost like you cannot feel anything that they could have improved and share it without the guilt, without the what? Wow, these kids these days are ungrateful.
When legit, I could take this whole
because
fucking
they all
tree
say we are
and be like, oh, I got this for you. And she'll be like, oh, that's what I asked for, but it's not what I asked for. Right. So she'll be like, I asked for a tree, but that's not the specific tree that I asked for. But you don't know what I went through to get this tree for you. So again, the perspective of a mom is different from the perspective of a kid.
Right.
It is, and our
always gonna be
moms,
different.
and I think in my minority like settings, the moms always do better than their moms. So they think that because they were getting beat with a wire, that they are so amazing because they're not beating us with the wire, they're hitting us with the spoon, which
And
is a
the
little
same
less.
thing we doing
You
with them.
understand?
We're not
Like-
beating them, but
Right. So because they are less
gonna feel
violent,
it.
you know, my dad and mom were famous. We're like, in my country, when I was 4 years old, like it's just like, oh my
Yeah.
God. Like
Yo
I didn't ask to
ven
be born in New
pan.
York.
I
Right.
didn't ask to be
Like,
born in New
I didn't ask to be
York.
born in New York in the year that I
They
was
throw
born.
a one at your head instead of a chocolate.
My parents had to walk to school in the hot sun with no money. So they got it out the mud. So I'm just like, that's not my fault. Like, I'm sorry that you went through that. But it's like, so they think we're ungrateful. They think we're spoiled. You know, like my mom, every time we had any conversation about things that she could have improved, she takes it very offensive. She starts crying. She starts slamming things. And she contacts my dad. Look at what she's saying. Like, it's just so bad. It's like a telenovela every time. And it's just like, you know what? Only Benji would know.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't even get the mom's perspective. You would have to sit them both down
have to talk.
and tie them down because that's the other
Because
thing. My mom would get
even
up.
then-
My mom would get
Even
up.
then,
She'll be
you
like,
still
okay,
wouldn't know
talk.
because there's
I'ma send
there's
y'all-
3 sides to
I'ma
every
send y'all-
story.
I'm gonna send y'all the episode with Benji came with me to talk out of school. So Benji gonna tell his side of the story.
Yeah.
So
But that's why I said like no, but even having them together
nah.
because
You
having
still wait.
Wait, like, but locked, like with the handcuffs, like on
For me-
the
for
end.
me-
lock them with the handcuffs.
For me, I was a part of the same program Benji was.
Mm.
So I kind of know a little more.
In depth.
And I know the extended resources.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The other people that he had extended to his mother. So in his case, like I know what time it is when it comes to him. But y'all gonna see that little snippet of him talking to the kids, of him being indicted and him getting caught in
The wrong shit.
yeah, like he got caught up in some shit. And he was the main culprit of it all.
Mm.
Feel me? Like
His
when the
mom.
feds did a sweep, he was the main person.
Sheesh.
Feel me? And everybody ratted on him. Cause like they just gave him up.
Oh my
You know,
God.
but I know we gotta get out of here. So I wanna say
Right.
happy early Mother's Day to everybody here.
Happy
And
Mother's
happy
Day.
Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's
Thank
Day to
you.
you.
I love
Happy
every
Mother's
woman
Day to
here.
you.
No, thank you for your time. Thank you for your space. Thank you for your energy. Make sure everyone likes, subscribes, comments. And we say it at the end because that's not really my intention, but it matters at the end. But I thank every woman here for your time and your energy and for everything that you gave today. Your vulnerability, your transparency, and it means so much to me. You know what I'm saying? So thank you for being the my last minute. And Nat, thank you for believing, like, it took some convincing, but but from the sense that you wanted to be a part of something that you felt that was on brand and things that were you were gonna get a chance to
Your
be
perspective
yourself and speak and not be over talked and all those things, and just
No,
you're
yeah,
my heart.
I
So you know what I'm saying. So
thank you. You
Thank
are an
you.
amazing host.
We
No,
gonna
thank
do
you.
that
And,
Content Tuesday though.
I told
Yeah,
you, I love though.
Absolutely.
You gotta watch every
Yeah.
single episode. When you watch them, you see that he allows his guests to be themselves,
Right.
and that's the other reason why I wanted you to be on, because you can be who you are. You can be comfortable.
Right, this is not
going-
scripted.
He's not going to, like I said, even before, like, nobody's gonna let you do all that other shit. But talk, be yourself,
Right.
be comfortable. Don't worry
And
about what this is.
And I told y'all, I honestly thought I was gonna be the one because I'm real.
But that's how
sit
she
back
is,
and I listen, and I'll be like, okay, yeah, but such, and then I'll sit back and listen again.
Right.
Not today.
But adding the whole thing about this was adding to the conversation, because you have a different perspective. You have a different perspective. Viola had a different perspective. Everybody has a different perspective as far as how co-parenting goes, how raising your child goes, how
Right.
raising your child with a half-ass dad goes, no dad, or whatever the situation.
Right.
Everybody has a different perspective to where everybody in the world that's watching, they can agree with.
Right.
They can relate.
So somebody out there is gonna relate, and she's gonna know how to carry herself from now on. because of what you said.
Right.
So you just have to think about it that way. Like everybody knows, you're not the only person going through what you're going through. I was scared to have Mackenzie. I kid you not. I was crying because I was like, bro, how the fuck am I gonna push her out my vagina? And Juanita said to me, "You're not the first person to have a child. This has been happening for years." And I was just like, "You're right." So they're gonna know how to deal with me. But everybody has a different perspective. The only thing that I knew was I was told horror stories.
Right.
So the horror stories was what I had in my head.
Replaying,
That was
right.
a horror story.
No, I'm talking about people having natural births of epidurals that didn't work. People got 3 or 4 shots and they missed their spinal cord and all that other shit. That's what I'm talking about.
That's crazy.
That's what
I wanted
I
to
knew
feel my whole
somebody
birth.
must not
I,
have
with my
heard of
second,
my birth
No,
I didn't
story.
even
I
go to
knew,
the hospital.
but
No epidural, no
somebody
nothing.
told me a whole story about how they missed their spinal cord 4 times
Oh no.
in an epidural shot. And I was
That's
just
so
like,
dangerous.
when my daughter's father was just like,
They actually
she
hit
was
mine.
she was like, "Oh, are you getting the epidural?" I immediately started crying like, I don't know what to do. I don't want them to kill me and I don't want to not be able to walk for the rest of my life. He tapped me and he was like, "Calm down. She's going to get the epidural." And I was like, "Are you sure?" The needle was going in my back. Why I'm asking you? Like, I was just like, everything in my mind in that aspect of everything that was happening, it was a lot because of everything that I had been previously told.
Right.
So I let outside
Influence.
like happen. But again, this is an outside influence. So how is it going to affect people that are going through what they're going through?
Right.
We're just going to just continue. Either you're going to go through what you went through, Paola went through, or what I went through. But now they have 4 different aspects of what they're either eventually going to go through or not going to go through.
Right.
They have that now. And it's because you spoke. Because you spoke, because she spoke, because we all spoke. So now we gave that.
Right. So it's
Okay,
all
Jeff.
it's
Feel
all
me?
about perspective, and I never want to have a conversation about women without women. You know what I'm saying? I'm a father, I'm not a mother, so
And you are an amazing dad.
thank you.
Oh, I
Thank
didn't know you.
You are an amazing dad.
Yeah. So,
And I will 110% say that when your girl, when we were at the wedding and I was just like, I was like, sometimes we go out and we feel like, we feel bad that we leaving the kids at home. And she was just like, I don't feel bad. I was like, bro, immediately I got jealous.
right.
Because I was just like, I wanted that. Like, I never want to feel bad for leaving my
Right.
kid at home.
I don't
But
feel
she
bad.
know, nigga, we're not talking about you.
I be outside.
I was just like I know, I feel like
Outside.
she's secure enough with you that she know
Yeah.
that she deserves that.
Yeah.
And it's not only because of how much she does, it's because of how much you do too.
Nah.
You pull your weight.
Yeah.
I
So
pull
you-
my weight.
100%.
So
you
she
pull
gets
his
to have her
weight. He's
break
Yeah.
free of
amazing.
guilt.
Right.
You're a
She
great
gets
dad.
she gets to
Yeah.
feel
You're
her
a great dad.
her break free of guilt, and that is so important. Men and women, give your partner freedom to just be social.
Be
It's a
them.
part
Be
of a
them.
human.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a it's
The
a
same
part
way
of
she
human.
allows you to do this shit. I
Right.
know you allow her to do.
Right.
So it's
I
a
don't know
balance.
about be them because my man can't be outside being him.
Right.
But that's
different.
is that
That's different,
is
though.
that your own insecurities? Or is
Absolutely, it
that-
is 100%
But
my
for
insecurities,
you-
but
Yeah.
I don't go for that.
100%.
Yeah.
You could be yourself in the house.
Be
Nah.
yourself in the
I'm outside. I'm
house.
outside living
Yourself in
in.
the house is crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
Listen,
for
it's
me,
not Tuesday, so we're gonna relax.
Yeah. I mean,
He
for
needed
me,
to be Tuesday.
for me, I'm outside living in my purpose. Like,
That's a fact.
I
That's
have a lot
awesome.
going on between the podcast and the
Fatherhood.
nonprofit and things like that. So
Mhm.
for me, I'm a non-traditional man. Like, I cook in my house. I'm the one that cooks. So like
That's what's
for
up.
me, I enjoy knowing that my family is well taken care of. And I'll skip the gym knowing that I want to just make sure the house is good. Like, all right, let me not go to I go to the gym 4:30 in the morning. So I'm going to the gym early in the morning so it doesn't interfere with anything anyone has going on.
Mm.
So that way I can get home, do what I gotta do. Wifey come because I get home before her. For me. So let me get home. I'm home before you. Let me make sure things are taken care of. Let me start the laundry. Let me do what I gotta do, because that's only gonna make my life easier. You feel
But
me?
but it's
So
also making sure the house is good before anything
right,
else.
you
Happy
have to.
wife,
That's it.
Happy
life.
wife, happy life.
Right.
But I
You-
feel like, you know what's so crazy? Everybody takes that phrase and they feel like, oh, well, why?
Why can't the man
A
be happy
woman,
too?
a
Who is
woman,
everyone?
Right.
Just cut them
a
out.
woman flourishes so much more when she's happy.
Right.
Flourishes so much
And
more.
when
Yeah,
she's
because
happy,
10 times the woman
And
that
Happy
when
wife-
she's happy, you're happier.
happy
Right.
wife,
Correct.
happy life. Because
even do it out of
100%,
selfishness.
Right.
Do it. Try
If
it.
you
Just
got a
just try it.
miserable
if I
woman,
come home from work and the fucking dishes is done,
bitch, flip me.
are you
over.
not? Are you the dishes is done, the kids' homework is everything is. You
Yep.
want
I
your
know,
dick
we
sucked
know.
tonight. You want your dick sucked. Matter
Yeah.
of fact,
But it can't be like he did it like once a week. Like no, bro.
Nah.
Like all right, now you tried it.
nah.
Right.
Like
You want your
tried
dick
it.
sucked
All
tonight.
right, it's not Toxic Tuesday.
Oh, sorry.
It's
My bad.
Mother's Day Friday.
It's Mother's Day. It's Mother's
And I'm
Day.
behaving,
It's
actually.
Mother's Day.
It's almost Saturday. It's Mother's Day.
You can't put that in there.
It's
Sorry.
Mother's
So-
Day. It's Mother's Day.
Listen, happy
Yo, we
Mother's
still
Day.
recording?
Thank
Mother's
you.
Day.
Like,
We
subscribe,
there go the
comment.
cameraman.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
not
yeah.
rolling
We're
now.
gonna see y'all soon.
Don't
Shout
put
out
that-
to Texas.
Zozo, don't put that in there. Shout out to Texas.
It's in there. It's in
Oh.
there. That's what, we gonna clip that up.
we gonna cut that.
Nah, Mackenzie gonna watch this. You can't put that in
Cut the
there.
part where I was a little confused.
Peace and love, world. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, support the channel, show your love. You know what I'm saying? We having great conversation week in and week out. You never know who's coming. You never know what we're gonna do. But at the end of the day, it's all about peace and love. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment.